Imagine you are sitting in a Salesforce developer interview, and the interviewer asks you this question. Can you explain the difference between interfaces and inheritance in Salesforce Apex? When would you use one over the other? This is a very common question for anyone with 1 to 4 years of Salesforce development experience. It sounds technical, but the answer is actually quite straightforward once you understand the core idea behind each concept. Now, here is a simple and strong way to answer this question in an interview. You can start by saying something like this. Both interfaces and inheritance are ways to share behavior between classes in Apex, but they work differently and serve different purposes. Inheritance is about an is-a relationship. For example, a DB logger is a logger. The child class extends the parent class and automatically gets its code and behavior. So, if I have a logger class with a log method, my DB logger class can extend it, override that method, and write logs to the database instead. The key benefit here is code reuse. I write the common logic once in the parent, and all child classes benefit from it. Interfaces, on the other hand, are about a can-do contract. An interface only defines what methods a class must have, but it does not provide any code. It is up to each class to decide how to implement those methods. For example, I might have an iDiscountManager interface with a calculateDiscount method. My employee discount class implements it one way, and my VIP discount class implements it a completely different way. One important difference is that in Apex, a class can only extend one parent class, but it can implement multiple interfaces. So when I need a class to support multiple different behaviors, interfaces are the way to go. That is a clean, confident answer. You covered the concept, gave a real example for each, and mentioned a key technical point about single inheritance in Apex. That alone will impress most interviewers. Now let us talk about 2 or 3 follow-up questions the interviewer might ask next so you are fully prepared. The first follow-up could be, can a class in Apex implement multiple interfaces? The answer is yes. This is actually one of the biggest advantages of interfaces. Since Apex does not support multiple inheritance, implementing multiple interfaces is the only way to give a class multiple different capabilities. Keep your answer short and confident. The second follow-up might be, what is the difference between a virtual class and an abstract class in Apex? This ties directly into inheritance. A virtual class provides default method implementations that child classes can optionally override. An abstract class, however, must be extended and can contain methods with no body at all, similar to an interface. The key word to remember is optional versus required overriding. A third follow-up could be, when would you actually choose an interface over inheritance in a real project? Here you can say that you would use an interface when you have unrelated classes that need to share a common action, or when you are building something flexible where different developers might plug in their own logic. You would use inheritance when you have a clear parent-child relationship and want to share and reuse actual code. If you keep your answer simple, structured, and backed with a small example, you will come across as confident and clear in your interview. You do not need to go into deep architecture. Just show that you understand the difference, know when to use each one, and can explain it with a real-world scenario. That is exactly what interviewers are looking for.